Hi everyone, and welcome to Lucy Goes Live, where I interview people who I genuinely know are helping other people. And I believe that's what we need in these challenging times, shall we say, that we've been living through over the last 6 years. I just believe the planet needs more people that are helping others. And today I am joined by one of those people, and it's Rhodri from Lougher Fitzgerald. We've had Rhodri on the show before. And he specialises, for those of you that don't know, in estate planning. He helps individuals and families protect what matters most through sorting their wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and also something called an executor pack. So we're going to actually be talking about powers of attorney today. And if you're interested in wills and trusts, they're in previous episodes. Um, if you're watching this on Facebook, you'll be able to see all the individual reels that we've made from the YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me again, Rhodri.
Thanks
Um,
for
let's
having me again.
talk about lasting powers of attorney. Now, some people won't even know what they are because staggeringly, what you've found recently since doing this is that so many people don't even have a will. So, what on earth is a
Hmm.
lasting power of attorney for those that don't know?
So, a little bit like when we spoke about trusts, um, I noticed that a lot of people tend to think this is, I hear a lot, oh, that's for wealthy people.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. My argument at times is that um, it's obviously helpful for wealthy people, but it's imperative for your normal person in the street. So what a lasting power of attorney is, it's a legal document that's put in place that allows an individual to appoint somebody else
Hmm.
to make decisions on their behalf if they're not able to.
Yeah.
Um, so um, to give you the boring stuff, the person that sets the power of attorney up is called the donor.
Yeah.
And then the people they appoint are obviously called attorneys. Um, so, um, of course, I should make it clear that what we're talking about today is for England and Wales. So, if
Hmm.
anyone is watching from Scotland, um, then it's a different process entirely, which probably we could talk about another time for now. But
Yeah.
um, there are two types of lasting power of attorney, LPA. Property and financial,
Hmm.
and health and welfare. Um, Almost always, if a client wants a power of attorney, they do both.
Mm.
Very, very rarely will someone say, no, I just want one of them.
Mm.
Um, so that, in a nutshell, is what a power of attorney is. It's when something horrible happens, um, somebody, a trusted friend, a spouse, a child, or a grown-up child um, makes decisions on your behalf.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
That's in fact that is in and out what it is.
yeah, that's great. So if something like say if you know, yeah. And is that would you say it's specifically for more older people or should everybody have one of these?
Um, what 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 tends to happen is people wait until they're older
Yeah.
to get one,
Yeah.
or get them both, because they're more aware of things going on.
Yeah.
However, and this sounds really, really awful, but
Mm.
car crashes happen to people at all ages.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Illness happens at all ages, horrible as though that may be. Um, so um, powers of attorney really are for anybody um, that well for anybody really. I mean, anybody could go out the door and get hit by a bus.
Yeah.
You know, It's, I know it's horrible to consider,
Yeah.
but it can happen.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, and this links back to what we were talking about in the previous chat, that people tend to wait longer
Yeah.
for this. Um, the attitude is, oh, I'm 34 years of age. What do I need a power of attorney for?
Yeah.
You
And
know, I had a really fun conversation with a guy a few weeks ago where he said to me, he was a really good guy. And he said, "Oh, I don't need a power of attorney." He said, "What do I need that for?" To which my response was, "Well, are you one of the Avengers?" And he laughed. And I said, "Look," I said, with the greatest of respect, you get hit by a bus. It doesn't matter whether you're 35 and you go to the gym 5 days a week or
Mm.
whether you're 105. There's still
Yeah.
stuff to deal with. And um, but it seems to be a societal issue where, or well, maybe not societal, but just a personal issue where
Mm.
people have that kind of invincibility complex until they get to perhaps their mid to late 40s, 50s, and they start thinking about stuff like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, what happens if you don't have one? Let's say worst case scenario, you don't have one and you lose capacity.
Yeah, that's not fun at all. That's really quite bad. So we the worst case scenario there is, let's say that wife has hit by a bus and they're in a coma, um, and totally and utterly incapacitated and unable to do anything.
Hmm.
It might let's say that that person has financial obligations that are independent to their husbands.
Yeah.
Um, the husband in that setting has absolutely zero access or right to any access to
Right.
his wife's financial um, uh, situation. No, can't access the bank account, stocks, shares, savings, anything at
Hmm.
all. And we've even seen in some cases where if there's a joint mortgage, can't remortgage,
Yeah.
can't do anything.
Even
Um,
if the time's
and
up on the mortgage, because it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
close to
and
the end
I
of it.
I have this is very, very rare.
Hmm.
I'll make that very clear. But where there is a joint mortgage in place, if one spouse were to be incapacitated to this degree, believe it or not, a mortgage company can foreclose on the mortgage
My goodness.
because the one half of the client, if you like, is
Yeah.
no longer able to meet their obligation. So now I will say it's extremely rare.
Hmm.
It's extremely rare, but there are examples of it happening. So
Hmm.
to paint the worst picture imaginable, which I don't really like doing because I think
No.
it's scaremongering,
Yeah.
but zero access to bank accounts, um, potential loss of the family home because of zero access to the bank account, and
Yeah.
also um, a particularly cynical mortgage lender could potentially foreclose on the property. Very rare, though that
Goodness.
is. Um, the if that happens, then to extend the example, the husband would have to make an application to the Court of Protection,
Yeah.
where they say to the court, "My wife is in a coma, has
Hmm.
been for a week. The prognosis is not great. We're not sure how long it's going to be.
Yeah.
We have financial obligations that I can't meet on my own because we're a working family.
Hmm.
I need to apply to the Court of Protection to access her finances."
Yeah.
Um, that in itself is a horrible, horrible process.
Yeah.
Um, it's very, very expensive. There are examples of people that have made independent applications.
Yeah.
Um, but what's that saying about client about somebody representing themselves in court. They have a solicitor and a client, an idiot for a solicitor and a client. But a lot of people are they can't necessarily afford to do
Mm.
it. They're already in financial trouble, which
Yeah.
is why they're making the application. They have to pay to make the application and legal representation.
Yeah.
Um, the process it could. I've seen examples where it's taken over a year, and during that year, um, the stress I can't quite imagine because you're
Mm.
already dealing with the emotional turmoil
Yeah.
of a spouse in that situation.
Hmm.
If there are children, let's say the husband he's managing the home, the child or children,
Yeah.
financially under staggering pressure.
Yeah.
Um, and you effectively have to prove to the court that um, they should allow you access.
Yeah. Hmm.
And it's a very, very,
Crackers, isn't it?
you
Really.
know,
Mm.
it's an awful. I mean, I understand that the process needs to be diligent and it needs to be compliant,
Mm.
um, because sadly there are people that would do things that they shouldn't do,
Yeah.
but it makes the process um, for this sort of thing just brutal. And
Yeah.
there are some I won't go into them now because they're horrible, but there are some very, very sad stories of these
Yeah.
things. Really
Yeah.
horrible, horrible stories.
So would you
And all
say,
for
mm,
a 2 or 3 page document. Amazing.
so would you say like with a lasting power of attorney, like obviously like a will, these things need updated. So let's say in our situation, Mike would have lasting power of attorney over me and I would have it over him. Would that be the ideal
Yeah.
scenario? Because then
Yeah.
we can access each other's bank accounts. I mean, we have a joint account, we've got
Hmm.
individual accounts as well. So that would be the
Yeah.
ideal situation. But then I suppose as you get older, what I tend to find with people in their 60s, 70s, etc., they generally tend to maybe potentially put children um as lasting powers. Would that be correct? As
Yeah, you do see it
yeah,
as people get older because it can be changed, of course. I
yeah,
mean, it's not once you've written it, that's the end of it. It can be
yeah.
changed. So what so with your example that you wouldn't in 8 years' time ask Tommy to be your attorney,
No.
you know,
Mm,
but in 30 years' time when he's 40 and everything, you and might sit down and say, why don't we ask Tommy,
mm,
you know, because, well, age and becoming older can be cruel and it can be more difficult.
mm.
So um, you do see that quite a bit. I've amended or I've done powers of attorney where they're changing them because the child we say child, but the child is now an adult,
Yeah.
you know, and can be trusted.
Aha.
And that's the key word, these powers of
Yeah.
attorney is trust.
Yeah, because even though the law makes you an adult at 18, not necessarily. You need to have a bit of
Yeah. And
experience, I would say.
well, yes, and you know, I mentioned when we did the section on wills that I
Yeah.
always speak to executors before simply adding them.
Yes.
And with powers of attorney, I speak to the attorneys
Yeah.
and I say to them, you do understand this is not this is not something that if you're ever called upon, it's something you can dip in and out of.
Mm,
You will effectively control this person's life at a time
mm,
that they have no control.
mm.
And
Yeah.
it's probably the one area where when I'm talking to clients, and I'm going to let the cat out of the bag a little bit here, I never accept the first answer when they tell me who their attorney is going to be.
All right.
I if they say to me, "Oh, I want my attorney to be my pal um, Phil, I've known him for 25 years and he's my guy. And I say, okay, great. And I note it down and I say, we're going to have this call again in 3 or 4 days or in a week's
Mm,
time. And I want you to think about Phil and I want you to think about your circle and your
mm,
immediate family and your extended family and think carefully without being unpleasant to Phil, who I'm sure is a lovely guy. But is Phil your guy if you're lying in a hospital bed in a coma?
yeah,
And I have some interesting reactions to that. Some people push back and say, yes, absolutely he is. And I say, okay, great. So tell me that again in a week's time.
yeah. Have a think about
But
it.
I do get I do get people that the following week will say, I thought about what you said,
Mm,
and while Phil is my best friend and I've known him since school, I think this person will be more effective,
yeah, it's funny, like
more
people have different capabilities. I know when I was going through like a terrible time in 2012, signed off with work-related stress, which was no surprise. Um, and I had two friends. You really know who your mates are when, the chips are down. And I had two friends who really but they really behaved in two different ways. Like, so, my friend Rachel, she was doing all the legal stuff and supporting me for absolutely no fee whatsoever. I just gave her all baby stuff for when she had her baby. Like I was like, here, have it, and I don't know, just anything, like anything. I'll never ever forget her for what she did and how she supported me
Mm.
through that entire process, legally, practically, all the practical stuff. And I have my other friend Anne, who was there for hugs, crying, tea, biscuits,
Yeah,
cake.
yeah,
And to be
yeah.
fair to both of them, and they'll both say this, Rachel couldn't kind of deal with the crying and the hugging.
Mm.
And Anne wouldn't have been able to deal with the paperwork. She just, that's not her
Yeah,
thing. And we've all got our strengths and weaknesses, and that's okay. And I was just so bloody grateful for having both of them in my life at that time, which was what was a really, really difficult time. It was like the year after we got married. And that's the thing. Like some people can deal with those situations very practically, very methodically, and other people are there to give you hugs. And
yeah.
that's what I found in life. And it's a real lesson,
Mm.
that some people can't deal with paperwork and some people, and that's okay, because that's why we're all there to
Yeah,
really help each other. And I just realized that one person can't be everything to everybody. So that's kind
yeah.
of in relation to that. But yeah, so let me see what other questions I have for you. So um yeah, that kind of covers the can my husband or wife automatically deal with my finances? Well, obviously not. Um, and yeah, it's obviously not just for elderly people. So what would you advise? Obviously, I tell you what, one thing I want to touch on actually, solicitors. Traditionally, a lot of people will go to a solicitor and
Yeah.
a local solicitor, have this all dealt with, spend thousands of pounds on having this dealt with. What would you say, like at Lougher Fitzgerald, why would they come to you over a solicitor?
Um, yeah, I get asked this quite a bit
Yeah,
actually. And um historically, people have gone to law firms
yeah,
and had a solicitor draft the will. Um, and that's great. Nothing wrong with that at all. But what where this kind of industry, if you will, has changed in recent years is that um, price has become a big issue.
yeah,
That
massive.
it's
Mm,
not at all unusual. Um, and again, I speak to people and they will say that they've spoken to a law firm up the road from them and they were quoted um, for the will. If they did the full complement, as I
yeah,
call it, the will, the powers of attorney, and the trust, they some solicitors will charge 6, 7,000 pounds for that.
yeah,
And and I suspect there isn't a solicitor in the world or in the country that would disagree with me when I say that the wills, powers of attorney, and trusts that we produce
Mm.
are identical. They're the same. They have the exact same legal standing as the ones that the law firm produce.
Mm.
These are documents, they're contracts, they're agreements. Um, and they it's not like when a solicitor drafted will is executed, it's done in any way differently to a will that I've drafted. It's the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
There's not some special tag on the top. Um, so price is a big motivator, especially today.
Yeah.
Especially today. Um, I'm going to word this very carefully, but for a law firm, for a legal practice, wills, powers of attorney, and estate planning would be a very, very small part of their practice.
Mm.
It's very, very rare to find a law firm that only specializes in this.
Mm.
They're normally, it's normally, if you look at a law firm's website, you'll see their main areas of business, let's say property and commercial, perhaps some personal injury. Um, and then there'll be another tab somewhere along the screen. Oh, and we also do this.
Mm.
Um, and of course, they do it brilliantly.
Yeah.
They're sisters, of course they do. But it's not their area of specialty.
Mm.
Um, and the one final point I'll make on it is that when I've dealt with clients that have spoken with law firms,
Mm.
because it's not the law firm's priority, they're often left feeling that it's not a priority.
Yeah.
And, and what tends to happen, and again, I'm not tarring everybody with the same brush here, but what tends to happen is one of two things. It's either rushed through incredibly quickly
Yeah.
or it takes 9 months.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the feedback I've had.
Yeah.
Um, so, but then as I say to clients all the time, if you prefer to go to a law firm, do it. Do it. I'd rather you do that than become a client of mine and feel that a lawyer, a solicitor should have done it. There's no need for that. But
Hmm.
with that goes the significant um,
Cost.
increase in cost
Yeah.
um,
And can
when
you
it's the same.
usually do a pretty good deal through Lougher Fitzgerald? So, yeah.
Well, when we get to it, yeah, well, I'll tell you all about it. I think it's quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How we
Good.
do it, I think, is quite good.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Yeah, well, that's lovely, Rhodri. I think what we'll do is we'll save that one for the next video. So
Yeah.
stay tuned, everybody, because we are going to be talking about something that's probably a bit lesser known in the next episode. We're going to be talking about executor packs. What are they? What do they do? Why are they handy? So that's what we're going to be talking about in episode 4.
Mhm.
So thanks again, Rhodri, for that. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Actually, one thing I
Yeah,
forgot to mention, totally
yeah,
my
go on.
fault, is I'm talked about the financial LPA,
Yeah,
but the health one as
go
well.
on. Right, go on.
That
Sorry,
cover
we've
it
overlooked
very
one.
quickly. So this is remember I mentioned how they both go hand in hand. Very
Yeah,
rare do people take only one. They always do both. But the main difference between the financial and the health and well-being LPA is the financial obviously covers bank accounts and property and investments and everything else. The health one covers medical treatment,
yeah,
decisions around care, where you may live. Now,
right.
if I speak to 100 clients, it's almost 50-50 on their priority.
Mm,
Some are terrified by the fact that their money can't be accessed, but their care, they sort of go, okay, yeah, all right. And then on the other side, 50% are terrified by the lack of decision-making structure with their health and
mm,
well-being. Um, so the the health LPA, um, I think is extremely. Um, I find it difficult to find one more important than the other, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, but when you think that if somebody is incapacitated, um, that where that person lives could the decision could be made by people in a health department somewhere
Not your
or
family.
an NHS office. And so people that don't know you, don't couldn't pick you out of a lineup,
Yeah.
know only what this file or a PDF tells them about you, they will decide what happens.
Wow.
Now, yeah, that's terrifying. I mean, I know without, my parents are in their mid to late 70s, and if I had to choose between one LPA and the other when it comes to my parents, I would choose the health one
Yeah.
because there's no way in the world I'm going to allow people to decide where my parents live out the rest of their lives. I'm
Right.
not going to allow that. I'd rather their property be repossessed and all the money go, but they
Yeah.
live out their years happily and looked
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
Um, so it's fortunately it's a very rare conversation that I have to have
Good. Yeah.
where somebody is questioning which one to have.
Mm.
But both kind of hold hands and they're both extremely um, important. And I'll make this one point finally that the financial LPA
Mm.
it protects you and the family for everything that happens here. It's
Yeah.
numbers on a piece of paper. It's numbers. It's making sure that you can move that number there to that number there. And the
Mm.
gas bill has been paid, the mortgage has been paid. But the health LPA is here. And for you can't see, but I'm pointing at my heart.
Mm.
That's for the emotional side of things. That's making sure your loved one in their hour of need is given the best care possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no money involved in that.
No.
That's just raw emotion, care, and love.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one is pay the bills.
Yeah. The practical side. Exactly. You've got the
Yeah,
emotional side and the practical side, which, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
And,
how
bel
it
and,
generally
and
works.
believe you me, when you start having conversations with clients about that
Yeah.
and you start sort of explaining it, those conversations can be very, very delicate, very
Yeah.
emotional.
It is. It's
And I
such a
think,
delicate subject.
yeah. And when you mentioned the law firm element, not to malign any law firms out there, but one thing that we tend to do is there's no time limit on conversations.
Hmm.
We're not charging you by the hour. Um, there's no limit to the amount of conversations
Hmm.
because this area here, I can't believe I forgot to mention it. This area here is extremely delicate
Yeah.
because almost everybody you speak to has had something like this touch their lives. And so
Yeah. And
um, the
yeah.
the last thing I'm going to do, um, and as we expand and have a team and everything, I will never ever want this rushed
Yeah.
ever. It needs to be handled very, very delicately with,
Yeah.
and I hope, as I say, as we expand, I will make sure that planners are trained properly in how to spot vulnerable customers,
Mm.
vulnerable clients, anybody that's had uh, any experience around this type of thing that we need to be very mindful of
Yeah.
and help them arrive at the right decision, but at the right pace for them. We
Yeah.
certainly don't want people hanging the phone up and they can't go out the door for 3 days because it's been so upsetting to them. So,
Mm.
um, anyway, I forgot to mention that. So
That's
sorry,
all
Liv.
right. No, it's a good addition. It needs mentioned. So yeah, thank you. So if people want to get in touch with Rhodri about all this and get organized and get things in place, You can either privately message on the Facebook page. The email and all the contact details will be on the top of the Facebook page. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll make sure those details are there as well. Or if you want to, you can type in the comments below to, message me or interested or whatever it is that you say. Um, so yeah, thank you again, Rhodri. And in the next episode, we are going to be talking about executive acts. That's right. So that'll be the fourth episode with Rhodri from Lougher Fitzgerald. So thank you very much. So yeah, so we will see you again shortly. If you have been, thanks for listening.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.